There's tens, if not hundreds, of study techniques out there, but many of them aren't backed by research. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how to study according to science. Okay, why should you listen to me? I have studied for countless hours using many study techniques in the past nearly 4 years, and today I'm going to share you the most important one of them. Okay, my promise to you today is to teach you how to use these study techniques, which are backed by science, to study less and live more. My name is Safo. My current mission is to educate 100,000 students. And I do that by these free courses that I release that I could legit charge nearly like $200 for, and as well as my Discord server. First link in the description is completely free. The 3-step process is: step 1, how to learn; step 2, test prep; step 3, improvements. Okay, to learn. We're gonna go on to pre-studying / syntopical reading. It's morely pre-studying. So this is exactly how you do. So you set a time limit, whether that's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Personally for me, 30 minutes works the best per chapter, okay? Afterwards, you set that 30-minute timer. Go look at the learning objectives. The learning objectives will say the key concepts and the key parts of a chapter. And afterwards, you get those key parts from the learning objectives. Go read the actual chapter. Identify the key concepts, the things written in bold, the things that have, like, let's say an extra like subheading, maybe it has a note on it as well, like those key concepts that are about the actual chapter. Those key concepts will lead to the bigger picture of the actual chapter, and you need to focus on the big ideas and relations between the chapters. For example, if there is a chapter about demand side policies in an economy, the two main ones that I know is fiscal and monetary policy. Those two are both two different policies. They're very different from one another, but they both fall under the demand side policies. And that's a relationship that you need to understand. And just like that relationship that I sort of just came out of the blue, you need to read something and you need to figure out, how does this relate to everything? How does this new concept relate to what I just learned in the last chapter? Sometimes you won't find those relations, but that's fine. You will always find relations inside the same chapter. If you can't link it to anything you've studied before, you can link it to what you've just studied. And you want to focus on these big ideas and relations, because the more you focus on these, the more you engage in higher order of learning, which I'll talk more about later because it's backed by research. But higher order of learning is basically critically thinking about something, not taking things at surface value. Because most people, the worst thing you can do is just read something and be like, yeah, I studied. Reading something is not studying. That's basically you just passively reading, okay? And passive studying is something you want to avoid. That's backed by research that passive studying is the most wasted time ever, okay? The person who studies 10 hours of just manually reading again and again and again through like 2 pages, and the person who uses techniques used in this video will do far better in just like, let's say, 1 hour, because that's the massive difference you have, okay? The higher order of learning is just you seeing the different relations, connecting them together, and analyzing and comparing and contrasting. Okay? Afterwards, you have basically done all of these steps, and you've spent like around 30 minutes to do it. That's when you go do some practice questions. Once you go do practice questions, you will refine your memory, because you just learned all of that, and now if you don't directly apply it right afterwards, you will forget it. And especially if it's the topic that you sort of hate. Even if you didn't understand and you didn't engage in higher orders of learning, or like almost any of these, you just read it and you went directly to past papers or practice questions, you will do so much better. Reason, because you will directly be implementing things that if you don't understand, you will figure it out. Okay? And you basically want to practice and refine your answers, and you want to basically repeat this process every single time you want to start a new topic, because this is one of the best ways to start a new topic. Secondly, Feynman technique. This is one of the most preached study techniques on my channel. Reason, because it's incredibly good. The Feynman technique is basically taking concepts and then explaining it to people who don't know anything about the topic. Let's say you're a biology student and you know what photosynthesis is. Your Feynman technique would be getting photosynthesis and then explaining it to, let's say, a business student who knows nothing about photosynthesis. Now that would be the actual implementation. You basically need to teach the concept simply to someone who doesn't know the concept well enough. So when you go to teach someone who doesn't know the key words and like vocabulary of your jargon basically of a topic, you need to really dumb it down. And that dumbing it down really shows that you understand something. Because if you can't really explain a concept to a 5-year-old, you don't understand it well enough. I know that's an over-exaggeration, but that's the basic thing. The Feynman technique is whether you're learning new things or you're cramming or you're just doing some practice, it's one of the best techniques for retention. Let me tell you a story. So this was the day before my mock. The mock was about 100 marks, and I hadn't studied for it for the past 2 months, and I had 1 day to study for it. I spent 4 hours studying, and I used just the Feynman technique. I went through about nearly 200 pages of content, and I literally just taught it to myself. It's still documented on this channel. I think it's called like 60 pages in 4 hours or something like that. And the exam that I gave the day afterwards, I got 87% out of 100. And there was people who studied for nearly the whole 2 months or probably even more, and they got less than me. The Feynman technique is extremely powerful, and quite simply, it's just you teaching it to somebody. And I didn't teach it to anybody because I didn't really have any friends, or I didn't have anybody to teach it with. So I just taught it to my camera, and I made a video out of it. So if you have the time, check it out after this. Okay. So, inquiry-based learning. This is how you do it. This one's fairly simple, and this diagram is really nice. Shout out to the slide designer for this. Okay? You want to go to past paper questions. You want to then gather the relevant information that you need from your books and resources. Don't go to the mark scheme. Okay? Go to your books and resources. You can even go to Wikipedia if you want, but whatever happens, don't go to the mark scheme. Research all of this, get the answers, and then apply that. Apply it. Maybe there's a format to answering your past paper questions. Apply it. Write an answer. Afterwards, you have written an answer for a specific past paper question. That's when you go and evaluate and reflect. You look at the mark scheme. You maybe get it checked by one of your teachers, and you figure out what you did wrong. Figure out what you did right. Okay? And once you have basically done this section of the learning, you want to go make your own questions. You want to make your own questions. You want to basically, you'll have a bunch of questions, and then you want to basically go ask them to your teacher. And then you want to basically repeat this process. It's a very simple way, and it works fairly well for me, and it's backed up by research. Secondly, test prep. If this video is so far valuable, join my free Discord down below. We do free coaching calls every week and free study sessions as well. Just join, bro. Okay, firstly, to do test prep, you need Bloom's taxonomy. If you have ever watched any YouTube video from a learning coach or by me, you probably have heard of Bloom's taxonomy. But it's quite literally, if you don't know this, you're wasting a lot of time. Bloom's taxonomy is basically a way to understand the orders of learning / thinking. The higher you go in this pyramid, the more things you gain from the bottom. So let's say if you're at create, you will know how to remember the information, how to understand the information, how to apply the information, how to analyze, and how to evaluate the information. Because to create something of your own, you need a lot of pre-knowledge. But don't worry about creating stuff. It's mostly for PhD students, and I don't think any PhD people are watching this. If you are, comment down below. Basically, what you want to focus on is evaluating and analyzing your topics. Whether you have similarities or you have differences, you want to basically analyze and contrast between them. You want to figure out why something's well. Keep questioning. The more you question, the more you learn. Do absolutely never just get something and without even understanding it or applying it, just put it into an Anki card. Never do that. It's the biggest waste of time. Back about 3 years ago when I first learned about Anki, I basically got everything and just put it into Anki without even understanding what it was. And you don't know the amount of time I wasted trying to row memorize it. And row memorization is not the way, okay? Even if your exam is fully about memorization, what I recommend is analyze and compare and contrast the topics. Let's talk about history. Let's say you're studying and your exam's completely about just memorization. Okay, you don't even really need to understand it. If you can just spit out everything, then it works. Let's say you're studying about Alexander the Great and let's say Genghis Khan. There's no compare and contrast question in your syllabus, but in order to remember it really well, if you just compare and contrast these two figures, you will have such a better understanding and you'll remember it way further. Reason because let's talk about the places where Alexander the Great was and where Genghis Khan conquered, and we could talk about where how much of the carbon footprint Genghis Khan fucking affected because he basically killed so many people. Those factors that you're comparing, and even though those types of questions might not come in your exam, those will help you in analyze and evaluate these topics, and these analyzing and evaluating will basically accelerate you into remembering more. And if you have analyzing and evaluating in your past papers, that's good. You have a bank of questions. Whatever you do, don't row memorize. That's step one. If you just focus all of your time on analyzing and evaluating concepts, you will spend barely much time on studying and you'll do really well. When I switched from basically just trying to remember and understand to evaluating and analyzing everything that I study, I had so much time, it's not even funny, okay? Secondly, we're going to go on to the Lichtner system, or spaced repetition. They're kind of similar, so I put them here. The Lichtner system is basically, simply said, it's Anki. If you don't know what Anki is, it's a spaced repetition / flashcard system or a software that most people use. Anki, Quizlet, Remno, they all use the Lichtner system / the spaced repetition system. Okay? Anybody who doesn't know what this is, basically you get questions, you put them, firstly you don't put them in any box. You try to answer them. Once you answer them right once, you put them in box 1. And then you check box 1 every single day. So every question over there, you check it every single day. Once you get things right in the box 1, you go to box 2, which you check every second day. And then once you get a question right in box 2, you go to box 3, and you check that every 3 days. And then continuously, there's a bunch of boxes. Yeah. Most people, they don't physically do this anymore, reason because it takes a lot of time. Instead, they just use a software like Anki. This is really good because spaced repetition helps you understand, helps you remember stuff way better. Because if you give me 7 minutes to study for an exam, that's in a week, I would study literally 1 minute a day. Some people would be like, why would you do that? You can't study anything in 1 minute. You would spend 7 minutes just studying today or the day before the exam. No. Reason because if I just study that 1 minute and just spread it across 7 days, you'll do far better. And I think there was even a test, there was an actual scientific test on this. The guy who studied 1 minute a day and the guy who studied 7 minutes a day for 1 day, the guy studying 1 minute a day did drastically better and remembered drastically more things. So yeah, Anki is a great system. If you don't use row memorization, it's way better. Personally, I use it just to spam past paper questions. Active recall, Anki, spaced repetition. Active recall is basically just testing yourself. It's actively trying to recall the information. That's the word, the meaning of the word is literally in the word. Okay? You actively try to recall information that you have read or learned back into your head. You can do this by testing yourself, past papers, practice questions. You can also do this by Anki or LMC, which is lazy man flashcards. There's no backed up evidence to LMC, except it has gamification and it's very similar to Anki. And Anki has evidence that's good. So yeah, I'm gonna make a video on that soon, reason because it's one of the best cramming techniques. And as much as I'm done with cramming, I feel like most people aren't. So let me know. Thirdly, improvements. These aren't study techniques to say, it's sort of just small tweaks here and there that will improve your study. Also, I forgot to mention this at the start, but literally everything that I've mentioned today, all of the links from research papers and whatnot is linked in the description. Okay, so if you want evidence of backing up on everything that I'm saying in this video, you can check out basically all of the references. I think there's multiple research papers, but I think I only put one part topic reason because I don't have that much time, bro. Firstly, interleaving. Basically, you want to study in between your topics. Let's say you have 3 hours to study about 3 different topics. Most people would be like, okay, topic 1, first hour. Topic 2, second hour. Topic 3, third hour. No. In that case, what you want to do is basically spend 30 minutes on topic 1, 30 minutes on topic 2, and then 30 minutes on topic 3. You want to interleave them and then go back to it. Reason because if you study 1 hour of each topic all at once, by the time you go on to your 4th hour of studying and you're back at topic 1, you won't remember anything. Reason because firstly, spaced repetition isn't involved. Because once you keep going back to the information, you do better because you remember stuff more. And also, if you hate a subject, this is one of the best ways to study. Reason because sometimes I don't even hate. Like sometimes I'm like over here just doing some economics papers, and I get bored, or like I'd be like, okay, I don't want to do it, and then I'll just go do this is paper 2, this is macro. I'll go do microeconomics, and then it's different. Yes, it's the same subject, but yeah, like sometimes just switch your subject. And one of the greatest, there's no science to back this up, but one of the greatest ways that I've used interleaving is the 1:3 ratio, which is you study for 1/3 of the time, or you learn for 1/3 of the time that you're studying, and for 2/3 of the time that you're studying, you should be applying information. Trust me, use this technique just use it for 1 hour on something new. You will do so good at the end. It's not even funny. Once I found this technique, I basically just spam use it. So, yeah. Secondly, Pomodoro. I don't think I need to explain this. You study for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. It's good, but in my personal experience, I don't use Pomodoro that much anymore because I kind of prioritize getting into deep work, which is the next point. But yeah, use Pomodoro. I'm thinking of making a full course on how to maximize Pomodoro. But Pomodoro is good if you have a short attention span. If you have a bit better of an attention span, do long deep work sessions because you will get more done in those sessions. Which brings me to the third one, do deep work. There's no direct evidence to deep work, I guess. Like, yes, deep work exists, we know that, and that's backed up by research, but deep work isn't really a study technique. But getting into the zone is definitely something that it's researched on, and it's true that if you get into the zone and you can do a lot of work, and basically everybody has the capability to do that, but to get inside the deep work zone, you need time to get in. And Pomodoro is a key thing that distracts you from that. So yeah, deep work is good, and it's personally, you either use Pomodoro or you use deep work. I don't think so you can have both. In my experience, you can't. And my promise to you today was to teach you the most effective study techniques backed up by science, so you can study less and live life more. If you enjoyed, go join my Discord server and subscribe. Bye.